Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Brightworks. If you haven't seen it, the very last video that I uploaded, new meta guaranteed. It was somewhat like kicking a hornet's nest because as soon as I uploaded that video, submitted that video to the YouTubes, I got a lot of submissions from fans like yourself of the game on the Brightworks Beyond All Reason Discord channel. Link, of course, will be down below in the description section right next to the like button, should you feel so inclined to support this video's growth. From a lot of people suggesting some variations of builds that looked a whole lot like the one we saw there, and I'm all here for it. You know I'm a big fan of meta shakeups, and I think this is a direction that will be interesting, to say the very least. So why don't we jump right into this game on all that glitters. 2 in a row, I know, but I have a feeling this is going to be a spicy one. Representing the blue team on the southern side here, it's going to be Phalange. Phalange, an Armada commander here, going to be going for a bot lab first. That's a bit of an interesting choice here. Usually we see vehicles, but I guess if you're really hoping to go for that really quick start, then the bot lab does make a little bit more sense as far as eco goes anyway. Those units are a little bit cheaper. Those units are a little bit, sorry, I'm fixing my keybinds on the fly. I think we're good. There we are, all set. Professional commentary brought to you by yours truly. Anyways, not all too unorthodox a start here, but certainly just a little bit strange. It's an interesting build. It's one we don't see all too often. Spawning all the way across the map and representing the red team, it's Rammed This. Anyways, maybe I shouldn't say that so enthusiastically. Ram this. My neighbors are gonna get a you know, they're gonna have a questioning look on their eyebrows. Ram this here. Spawning as an Armada commander. We're going into the much more standard vehicle bay on the backline here. However, going into 3 solar panels, and while the consistent energy is quite nice, that is a lot of metal that you are lacking in the early game here. And so I'm excited to see, or I'm hoping to see at the very least that this commander will capture these metal extractors. Looks like that's what this constructor is going to be doing, and I think that's absolutely the right idea here. I do wonder if we're going to eat up this lab here anytime soon. Looks like one more construction worker is on the docket here, but going for another solar panel and a worker, you're not really going to have enough metal for all of it. Going to be a little bit strapped for cash here, the red team leader. Now, all across the board, we do see some action already. Dutch Duke Nuke M, otherwise known as Dutch Duke Nukem, already has a couple of rovers headed across the map, as we can see here. These little scout bots being sent, or scout vehicles rather, being sent across the map. We also have some cleanup crew of ticks over here, brought out by our blue team leader. Phalange is going to be moving these ticks across the map, and I have a feeling they're going to successfully intercept basically anything that comes this way. In theory, the vehicle scouts are better than the ticks. However, in practice, not so often the case. Oftentimes the ticks can keep up with the scouts, if they're microed, that is. This tic tac right here, get my words all mixed up. This rascal rather will be able to snipe a metal extractor for its trouble, so that's quite nice. Sure, why not scratch up that constructor plane too while you're at it. Running for its life here in the back lines, trying to desperately scratch up the blue economy wherever it can. You can see those windmills already queued up here, and I actually really like it. I think that's a very reliable way to get your eco up and running without having to expend ultimately resources. Talk about a hero rascal in the back lines right now. As long as it doesn't get too greedy. I mean, yeah, this thing has gotten a fabulous scout off right here. Very, very nice work right there. Yeah, that's a valuable scout. Eventually brought low by the ticks here, but not after, or not before rather, revealing a massive part of the blue team here. So what are the strategies that we have cooking up here? I wonder if they've spoiled it in chat here. It looks like Robert82, hot pink player, is going for a tank rush with bots, question mark, winky face. Always a good indicator that there's something cooking up, and indeed we do see that Ram This has decided to go full-blown into tank production right out the gate. We are starting up windmills here eventually as sort of an eco growth eventually, right? But that's going to take a while. Also, those need to be spread out by one row, right? Just cut out the middle row and then upload them. Got my mind in the gutters here. Not the gutters, got the YouTube gutters, I suppose. I've been having all sorts of technical issues, and I've been weaseling through them today. You know that's fun. These need to be spread out by a row, so we need to see these split apart by one, just so that we can avoid that chain reaction from bombing. Otherwise, a single bomber of either race would be able to chain react those and cause a massive issue. There's a lot of blitzes on the field here from Max Leginger. Max Leginger, our powder blue player today, going to be playing on the front line here, but already taken a lot of damage from the orange player, Dutch Duke Nukem. I almost want to say Dutch Mick Nuke Nukem. Don't know why. Either way, the orange player has gotten these blitzes well into the backline and has now popped a significant portion of Max Leginger's economy here Why are we not pulling units from the front line here? Making artillery and confidently continuing that production with no holds bar, pun well intended. T1 gunship here. I mean, eventually, I guess it'll deal with this, but one volley at a time, right? Very slow, and these blitzes have well earned their place here in the back lines, doing a tremendous amount of damage. Would love to see them snipe that constructor. Oh, they might get it. They will get it. That's actually a really huge hit. That's 110 metal right down the drain. I'm excited, but I'm trying to spare my voice. I've had a bit of a scratchy voice recently, so I'm trying to keep it cool. Looks like Max Ginger realizes, hey, maybe I should do some of that on the other side of the map here for myself, and is going to send a couple of these blitzes across here. They're going to intercept a incisor singular, but more importantly, there are laser towers here to try and, at the very least, clean up some of this. Those explosions from the laser towers probably doing more damage than anything else. You're going to settle for a constructor. You really haven't earned it yet. That's 4, 5, 6 blitzes that are sacrificed to the other side of the map. You really need a lot more eco damage than this. As for right now, I really don't like that move. Yeah, that's just a lot of metal that is now available on the orange and particularly red side of the map. Tanks are a building. Yes, indeed, we do have 2 players in the backline building up significant forces of tanks. Both the hot pink player and the red player building up basically just medium tanks. There's a couple of scouts mixed in there, which I do like, and I'd love to see a missile truck thrown in as well for a little bit of anti-air. But all said and done, medium tanks will probably do the job just fine. There's a scout out here for the red player, so we do roughly know what we're going up against. No radar presence is detected over here. However, we do see the massive blob of units moving on this direction from Dahlia. A lot of pawns, and they could probably do a lot of work if we have the proper scouting. If we switch over to the blue team's vision, here you can see they just don't have quite as much vision as they really ideally hope for. And you can see over on this left-hand side, Mwahaha has pushed pretty far forward here. Nice D-gun right there on that pounder. That is quite nice. Shutting that down does mean that your bots are going to have a much easier time moving forward here, and also it's just free metal to take out of your enemy's economy, right? 220 metal, I mean, that's a fifth of the metal that you start with. Definitely well worth taking that out of commission. Pawn's now able to run by as well, which is another wonderful side effect. Another pounder does come out eventually here. Oh, we need to see these. Oh, well, okay, those are friendly pawns coming to reinforce here. Pounder will clean that up eventually, but yeah, it's a very costly solution to a otherwise relatively cheap problem to solve. A couple of blitzes looking for a run by over here. They are going to find an angle. Yep, right through the canyon pass. They are going to swarm down that pawn with no regard for its health. Maybe a regard in the negative sense for its health. They do get into the back line where we see a backwards bot lab here for the James 44. We have true skills all over the place, and as I'm looking over in that direction, I do notice this is probably a little bit more skewed. In fact, definitely a little more skewed towards the red team's favor, so not quite sure if this is what you might consider a quote-unquote balanced match, but it's oftentimes very difficult to find those. Even the most well-balanced match can have some sort of variation. Either way, we can sit back and enjoy the theory crafting as now the medium tanks have started to swarm across the map. That's brutes and stouts mixed in a big conglomeration. We do also see a couple of incisors and blitzes thrown in there as well, just for reinforcing fire support and a little bit of swarm capability. Missile truck in the back line, disintegrating the air wall 1 missile at a time, which is really nice actually. It's a lesser known trait, but it is something that oftentimes is overlooked, right? If you get just a little bit of AA under their air wall, eventually it all starts to disappear here. But this is just too much damage. The blue team does not have any way to repel this. Too much eco and not enough units, and you can see, I mean, just a simple act of the backline pumping out units as quickly as possible while the blue backline just went for a whole bunch of T2. T2 units are out on the field, so if they were out there dealing with these medium tanks, maybe a couple of gunslingers, I would like this a whole lot more, but you're just going to take so much damage on the front line. Already a player is down over on this side, mostly killed by those blitzes, but the tanks do finish the job, and now the hot pink tanks are pushing in through the center of the map as well. They're going to kill the bot lab here, the vehicle lab rather. They're going to kill the advanced solar panels, and then they're going to kill everything else. A couple of medium tanks stalling out here, a little bit of an APM issue. Commander moving forward to try and deal with all this. Phalange in a little bit of trouble here. Commander doesn't have energy to D-gun, and now the medium tanks are jumping on the air player's base. Really painful that, because now you no longer have air support here. And it was Armada, so it's not like you have those shurikens to shut this down, which is usually one of the most efficient ways to clean all this up. And these medium tanks are now getting to work in the backline here. Wonder if we could have D-gunned right there for Phalange. Not going to, though. And that is going to be these medium tanks. Now well into the backline, going to start jumping on top of a whole lot of this valuable economy. Meanwhile, Stouts ravaging the base here of Dahlia. Poor 1 Chevron player. 17 true skill to his name. suffering from the cheesiest strat in the book. Is it cheese? I mean, you go for units. That's the play here. Backline just produces units, no tech, no anything like that. How do you beat this? I think it's about time that we start talking about strategy here, right? Feel free to let me know your theories down below in the comment section. Always happy to hear from you guys down there. One thing, of course, is you don't balance the matches in this sort of a way. The other thing is, of course, that you have to scout this, right? I mean, you can imagine a couple of scout planes finding all these tanks in the backline would have been tremendously useful. Mwahaha doing a great job of pushing on this side. Managed to get the commander kill and is still pushing with the thugs. That is just pure blown thug aggression there. So that's just good old-fashioned, heavy-hearted fun. But now the medium tanks are swept across the backline, and there's not a whole lot left here for the blue team. Commanders are going to be moving in here to de-gun down whatever is left. Blitzes, tearing apart any of the T1 stuff. Everybody is calling for a push. GGs are called across the board, and I don't think it's going to be too long before we see the blue team recoiling out of this match. Yeah. It's you know, I can see now why this is becoming such a popular thing, and I can understand why immediately, as soon as that video went live, people sent in replays of all sorts and shapes and sizes like this. I'll be careful how many of them I cover. You can be rest assured about that, but I can understand why, right? This is such a chaotic and such an energetic way to win, but also, it's not like it's really that complicated, right? This isn't a complex theory about how to maximize your eco while minimizing damage, right? It's just you make more units than your opponent, and you catch them off guard with that. And I think it really just comes down to scouting in the early game. If anything, it's just emphasizing the point that scouting is super, super important in this game. People have GG'd out all over the place, and it looks like this is essentially just a death by atrophy. One push by one push, we will eventually see Black Angel succumb to the forces of the red team here. It's a lot of laser towers right there. The Great Wall of laser towers will hold against that blitz push, I suppose. But at this point, there is not much left in the tank here for the blue team. Excellently done by the red team. Just goes to show you, I mean, this is a minimum level of coordination, right? It's just, I will produce units and you should too. And using that coordination, eventually able to overwhelm the blue team. Very critical juncture when they went in there. I think they went in at about the 7-minute mark, which was quite nice. Noticing, using that radar vision, right? This radar coverage is super important. Using that to realize, hey, this is a great time because we have units and they don't on the field. And that means that, yeah, things are looking pretty good if we want to go in for a push. The last sizable army of any means built up over here by Black Angel. But some tanks are going to sweep through here. A couple of incisors popping all of the energy infrastructure, meaning production does grind to a standstill. And that is going to be essentially all she wrote here. Medium tanks finally jumping on top of the LLD wall. It's quite a decisive victory right here. Now, if you have a game like this and you'd like to showcase it, feel free to submit it down in the Brightworks Discord channel in the replay submission tab. That's where I'm taking replays nowadays. I would advise you to make sure it's a spicy one. I can't cover all too many of these games because I know people want the variety, but certainly I think there's something here. I think there's a meta change to be happening here. Certainly a heavier emphasis on scouting. I think the air player is going to have their work cut out for them as far as scouting goes, because I really don't see how these games being so popular right now in the current day and age, as of recording this, how this build doesn't become the new popular definition of standard play. Anyways, I think that's going to be all for today. Dalier is the last commander remaining here. Although it's technically not their commander. It looks like they just walked away from the computer rather than hitting the resign button. But it will be all she wrote as this final commander bites the dust. Thanks a ton for watching. If you're interested in this and other bar commentary, feel free to subscribe down below. Always having new people join the Brightworks, and I'm thrilled about it. I always treat this channel as a little bit of a measure of the bar community in general. Like, if people are interested in this, then they're probably interested in bar, and that always tickles my fancy because I'm always excited to see this game go and grow, I should say. Feel free to join the community, and we do have some good fun streaming Tuesdays and Saturdays as well here on YouTube, and Thursdays and other intermittent days on Twitch. You can check all that out again in the description below. I think that's all for me, folks. I'll show you these graphs and I will get out of here with my new meta in hand. Thanks a ton for watching, and I will see you in the very next video.